Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Week 7 of college football was one of the most exciting weeks so far this season. If you went back and watched my Week 7 preview, you heard me say that I didn't think it would be a very exciting week because of the lack of ranked versus ranked matchups, but I also said that there was the possibility of tons of upsets because of that reason, because there were not any ranked versus ranked matchups. That's exactly what happened, with 7 teams in the top 25 losing to unranked teams. 4 of those teams losing in the top 10, which would be Clemson on the road at Syracuse, Washington State at California, Washington at Arizona State, and Auburn at LSU. So all those teams lost on the road, but I think they were all major upsets, specifically Clemson and Washington State and Washington. I did predict LSU to upset Auburn. Auburn fans back in the preseason all thought they were going to go undefeated or maybe a one-loss team. Losing to Alabama or something like that. Now they're down to 2 losses, and my 8-4 prediction for Auburn is looking more and more realistic by the day, as they still have yet to face Texas A&M or Alabama or Georgia. So it's looking more and more realistic as we go. But very exciting week in college football overall. The games I missed this week would be Clemson losing to Syracuse, Washington State losing to California, Washington losing to Arizona State, Minnesota losing to Michigan State, Louisville losing to Boston College, Tennessee losing to South Carolina, UCLA losing to Arizona, Florida against A&M, Illinois against Rutgers, Army against Eastern Michigan, and North Carolina against Virginia. So I missed all those games. Not my best week so far. Still not a horrible week. Let's get into it. We'll kind of just preview how everything did, and I'll show you my teams on the rise and teams going down. So week 7, I went 20-11, 31 games this week. Obviously, plenty of those upsets contributed to a poor week. Clemson and Washington State, and Washington especially. I mean, change that percentage goes ways up. So about 65% this week. Not horrible. I know a lot of people will say Clemson lost that game because Kelly Bryant was out for the second half. And I do think that's why Clemson only dropped from number 2 to number 7. I think they would have dropped a lot more had Kelly Bryant been in that game the entire time. But I think the AP poll took that into account. And only dropped Clemson a couple there. Washington State only dropped 7, although I think they could have dropped a lot more. That was a beating they took against California. But 20-11 this week, it brings our overall to 240-69, which if you round up is 78%. Still not bad for 7 weeks through the season. Not horrible at all. Teams on going down, we'll just start there. All of these teams here, these 3 teams have 3 losses already. And with the exception of Nebraska, I think Louisville and Kansas State have pretty high expectations this season. I had Louisville going 9-3. Don't think that's going to happen anymore. That Boston College upset, I think, was the biggest upset that did not involve a ranked team, in my opinion. It was at Louisville. Boston College, A.J. Dillon, the running back, just went off against that Cardinal defense. It was a shocker, and it was a shootout, and Boston College ended up winning as time expired. I think it was 45-42. Lamar Jackson can't do everything by himself at Louisville. We figured that out. They've already lost, I think it was Clemson, and now Boston College and North Carolina State. Things are not looking good for the Cardinals there. Nebraska, another 3-loss team, just took a beating against Ohio State. They might be a 4-loss team. I can't quite remember that, but beating against Ohio State. Their coach is on the hot seat right now, and things are just not looking good for them. Last year, I think Nebraska saw themselves rise up to number 8 in the country before finishing the season. I think it was 9-4, but very disappointing year for Nebraska. And then Kansas State, another team that saw themselves, I think they were number 18 in the country at one point. I had them as a dark horse Big 12 title contender. I think a lot of other people did too. And now they're 3-3, getting blown out against TCU at home, losing to Vanderbilt early on in the season. So just has not been the type of year that people expected out of Bill Snyder and the Wildcats. Now, teams on the rise. Virginia. I've actually received a couple comments from Virginia fans asking how I thought they would finish out the rest of the season, and they have taken me by surprise. Bronco Mendenhall has done a great job with the Cavaliers this season. And when I predicted that my 2-10 record for the Cavaliers this season, if you go back and watch it or even read the description, I did say I think they would do a little bit better. I did not think they would be 5-1 at this point in the season. They've won 4 straight since their loss to Indiana in week 2. They've really surprised me. Everything's clicking, and I do think they will definitely make a bowl game. They have the potential to win at least 7 games, maybe 8. They still have to face, I think, Miami and Virginia Tech, which could both be potential losses. But besides that, I definitely see them making a bowl game in Bronco Mendenhall's second year. Things are looking great for the Cavaliers. California is another team that, in my opinion, is trending up. They're not None of these guys are like conference title contenders or anything, but they're just trending up because California took care of business big time against Washington State. I think they beat them by 34 points or something like that. A lot of that contributed to Luke Falk's, I think, 5 interceptions in that game. They had tons of turnovers. But California was a team I expected to have a horrible year, I think winning 1 game. They've really proved me wrong. Golden Bears are doing great in Wilcox's first year as head coach. And I could see them easily making a bowl game, maybe getting around 6 to 7 wins. And then Texas A&M, 1 week after giving Alabama probably their toughest test of the season, only losing 27-19. They went on the road to Florida, a game that I did miss. Went on the road to Florida and got a huge road win there in the Swamp by, I think it was 19-17, picking off Philippe Franks there at the very end. So that was a great game. Texas A&M's trending up. Kevin Sumlin's probably safe for now, assuming they don't blow it there towards the end of the season. They're going to go to a bowl game, but how they finish the season down the stretch, that's going to be key. If they can pull off another upset there, I know they still have to play Auburn. I think they still have to play LSU, so if they can win one of those or maybe both, Kevin Sumlin, I think, will stay there for another year. So things are definitely looking good for the Aggies. Week 8, I think it's going to be even better. We're going to have a couple more ranked versus ranked matchups. We're getting closer to the first release of the college football playoff rankings, and that'll really give us a real idea of who's playoff contenders. We know Alabama, Penn State, Georgia, TCU, Wisconsin, those kind of guys are going to be up there. But we'll really get to see how the committee thinks, and the rankings will definitely differ from the AP poll that we've been dealing with since week 1. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. And I just want everybody to remember that these guys that I have trending down are trending up. These are just teams that are kind of maybe not ranked or very lowly ranked. Like I just stated, those teams that are perennially very good and every week, Alabama, Penn State, Georgia, TCU, those kind of guys, those guys really won't make this list because we know they're good. Unless one of them just takes a major and multiple losses in a row, they'll make it on the trending down list. But the guys that are middle of the pack, ranked, or even not ranked, that are solely accumulating wins, they're going to make this list, not the guys that are constantly good around the top 10, top 15. So just keep that in mind for some of you guys that keep commenting about that or keep asking about that. That's who makes this list. That's who I see in my opinion. So overall, not the best week, not a horrible week. I think week 8 will be a lot better. It's going to be another great week of college football as we all expect. I'm really excited to catch all these good games. We've got a couple key conference matchups that could really shake up how things end up in all their respective conferences. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Make sure you keep an eye out for our Week 8 preview video. That will be coming out on Friday. And we will see you next time on The Gridiron Expert.